All right, let's talk about the Warriors and the Kings. This series is 2-0 in favor of the Kings. And yet the media is talking like this series is still a series. And now I know everyone does you know what I hate is how there's these sayings in sports that sound good. So we just keep saying them as if they're
Yep.
like a real fact. One of them from football is from Bill
Hate it.
Parcells. It's you are what your record says you are. Like, shut the fuck up. It's a 16 game or now 17 game season. There's a ton of variance, right? Like your fucking, point differential says a lot more about how good of a team you are. So,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up with that. Like, we've gone beyond that. But in basketball in the NBA playoffs, there's this one. I believe it's from Pat Riley. And it's a great one because it sounds fantastic, but it's also stupid. A series hasn't started until the road team wins. Guess what,
No,
Pat?
stop it.
Shut the fuck up, Pat. Guess
Stop
what?
it.
A road team can never win in a series, and a team will advance.
It's
So
true.
don't fucking tell me that makes any goddamn sense. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
And you only apply it, right? You only apply it when, guess what? A team that you want to win and you think should have won is down 2-0. That's the only time we fucking hear this shit. Because you know what I didn't hear? I didn't hear someone say that when the Heat won game one against the Bucks. Because we all kind of went, yeah, I don't know. I
That's a
think the
very
Bucks might be better.
New York Nick Miami Heat thing to say.
What?
No, the whole like a series doesn't start until the road team. That sounds like something somebody who coach the Knicks would say. Because you,
Hey, Pat Riley coached the Knicks. Okay,
Yeah.
so the Warriors versus the Kings. The games have been amazing to watch.
oh great.
I
Yeah.
think one of the reasons why the media hasn't buried the Warriors is they haven't gotten destroyed yet. But the Kings have been the better team in both games, right? Like
Yep.
they're not lucking into this. Taylor, James, what are your impressions of the first two games? And where do you think this series is going to go now that we know Draymond isn't playing game three, which I think probably is a big deal?
Well, I would say game three, absent of the other variables, like Steph has to have one of those nuclear hot games in game three at home. If he doesn't, and somebody like Clay or whoever doesn't have like that hot a game, they're going to go home. They're going home. Like the game three got like to me, game three is the series.
Oh
Period.
yeah, I mean for the Warriors it has to be. If they
Yeah.
if they don't win, they're down 3-0. It's
Yeah.
no one's come back from that.
Nobody's ever done it. Man, picking up on that, I completely agree. I mean, it's going to come down to Steph. And I think the way he's got to do it, man, it's kind of funny because the Kings run this, as we talked about, this dribble handoff heavy motion style, and it's really fun to watch. And the closest thing to it in recent years has probably been the Warriors, right?
Yep.
And I would say that they need to completely abandon it and spam the shit out of pick and roll, man. Kevon Looney and Steph Curry, pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll, and hunt Sabonis on the switches. They have not exploited the fact that Sabonis is a bad defender yet. And to me, that's how they had to win the series.
Here's
Yep.
the thing. I agree with you on the pick and roll thing. The problem is, you know who's the best pick and roll partner for Steph Curry?
Yep.
I
Draymond
know.
Green.
I know. That's
Draymond
why I
Green.
said Kevon Looney.
I know you said Kevon Looney, and it's just, will it be effective? Probably. Will it be effective enough? Because
And there's it is.
and like that's the issue because they've been struggling. I do want to bring up Draymond's impact on the Golden State Warriors. So in the regular season, when he was on the court, and granted he's playing with Steph a lot, but I think these numbers will bear out his importance. With Draymond on the court, they have a 6.9 net rating. That's good. That would have been the best of any team, but granted, most bench units are worse than starting units. Like, good team when Draymond's on the court. 118.7 offensive rating, 111.8 defensive rating. When Draymond's off the court this season, 1,600 minutes, a negative 5.56 net rating. That's bad. Like, that's not Rockets bad, but that's bad, right? But that's what is it? Like Charlotte? No, it's a little bit better than Charlotte Hornets. Whatever. It's bad. It's bad. It's not good. you have good chances at Wemby if you have that over a season. Their offensive rating drops to 113.25, and their defensive rating explodes to 118.8. So I'm not saying they're fucked without Draymond, but there is a good chance that Draymond missing this game, like I think Taylor's right. If Steph doesn't have, if Steph is not just going to have to go nuclear. He's going to have to go like ISO nuclear. It's going to have to be like Rambo First Blood Part 2 or whatever the fuck it is, where it's like one man army against, an entire nation. Like it's going to have to be something the likes of which we haven't seen since like the last finals. But I think it's really going to have to be one of those games because Draymond, while he's not an impactful offensive player in a traditional sense, he amplifies everything that Clay and Steph do on offense. And then defensively, like he is their everything. Without him, like, the Suns offensive rating this series has been absurd. I think it's been like close to 120. So if you take out Draymond from that equation, I mean, the floor for them is going to be 120 points per 100 possessions. So you're really going to have to kind of go nutty.
Like me and James were literally having this conversation. Like, was it like yesterday or something like that? Talking about Draymond, about like people are always like, well, Draymond can't shoot, like, and he's single digit, whatever you want to call him. The guy he's the offensive and defensive coordinator for this basketball team. That's what he is that he has the defensive versatility, and like he knows what his teammates, where they're supposed to be. The offense, like he to be honest with you, he runs both sides of the basketball for them. Like Steph, we all know Steph is the best player, but I think Draymond is the quarterback of this team, and like they're going to miss him on both sides, like you said, and like it has the potential to make people see just how invaluable he is on this particular team.
Man, that's never going to happen. People's basketball analysis is about as deep as does the shot go in? Like that's basically most people's analysis. Like, how cool does it look when he shoots, and does the shoot go in? Like that is basketball analysis for 90% of the population.
You are not wrong. Like nuance in sports conversations died a slow death, and like we're dealing with it now.
Yes, we're in the disaster zone. Okay, so let's actually talk about something I find very interesting in this series that is Draymond centric. What the fuck is going on with the way people are talking about Draymond Green stomping on Domantas Sabonis? Like I understand people saying Sabonis grabbed Draymond's leg. If you watch the video, you could describe it that way. You could also describe it, if you want to be favorable to Sabonis, that he was moving his arm to protect his face because he was on the ground and there's a bunch of giant people around him. He doesn't like grab Draymond's leg with his hand, right? So there's no like smoking gun to say this is what happened. But then there's like the whole like, well, Draymond, he just did what anyone else would do in that situation. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't think that's true. I think 99% of players in the league don't do what he did. So, Taylor, where do you stand on the whole Draymond stepping/stomping thing?
I mean,
I'm very much in the stomping category.
I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I really don't.
Oh, it's not a big deal. It's just like,
I don't.
He stomped on a dude on the ground. Like there should.
What I think is the thing about this is that it basically come down to like it's you got two dirty plays in succession. That's pretty much what happened, because like Sabonis was in the middle of dirty playing Klay Thompson, and he fell on the ground, and Draymond stomped on him because he thought he was holding his ankle. That's basically what we watched happen.
Yeah.
Now, if you're thinking about it as like being overly dramatic and mad, oh, he stomped on, like, I guess you have that right, but I just looking at it, I also don't even think he really stomped that hard. Like, you look at, he didn't really like put any force into it. Really, he just can't. Again, I'm not saying it had no effect. I'm just saying he could have actually stomped on his chest for real, and he didn't.
Yes, he could have tried to kill him. I think that is
Yes.
true. We can agree that he could have tried to kill him, but in a professional in the modern 2020
Listen, I've seen
version of
guys get
NBA.
shot over less. Like I'm just saying.
I know. The NBA has come a long way from where guys like weren't even ejected for fights. You
I
know,
get it.
but I do think that like for me it's like it's not a big deal and that like what Draymond did was dirty. You should not do that. Sabonis is a super physical player and he's been probably pummeling, not probably, he has been pummeling the ever living shit out of everyone on the Warriors in the interior. And he, probably took a chance to maybe, make a what we like to say the dark arts in soccer, where tactical foul on Draymond, so he couldn't get back on defense. Hope he gets away with it. I don't think it's a big deal. I don't get the like. I can't believe Draymond was suspended. I'm like, what are you talking about? This dude's on the ground, and
See,
you can describe it
here's
as
the
a
thing.
stomp, and it's.
I agree
Draymond
with
Green.
that. I agree with that. Like he deserved the suspension. I don't think like you gotta suspend him. You just gotta.
Yes.
But I also don't think it's like Ron Artest elbowing the absolute shit out of James Harden and almost like giving a concussion in the skull. Like it ain't that type of shit.
That was probably worse. That probably was worse. Yeah.
Yeah, where do you come on this? Where do you come down on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was fairly bad on a scale of like not bad at all to like, indefinite suspension. It was like in the middle, like
Play that basketball, man.
Yeah. I'll say this. To me it looked pretty bad, but it is also fair to say that Sabonis has probably been playing dirty throughout the series a little bit as well. And it's
been playing physically.
Well,
physically.
Yeah,
he's been playing
physically.
Okay.
It can be a fine line. So
describe it.
But maybe it's the kind of thing where like somebody, kind of picks at you a little bit every day, just like at school, maybe tripping you up, shove you into the locker, fucking, I don't know, whatever bullies do to kids. And then one day the bully just kind of snaps and beats the shit out of him. And it's like, that was a disproportionate response, but I understand that you've been aggravated. So maybe there's some understanding from that perspective. I think the thing with Draymond too, man, it's just like, well, the question is always to what extent does the previous history come into play, right? Because like, dude, I mean, come on, he kicked Steven Adams in the nuts twice. Like he's got this long standing thing of like doing like really pretty violent stuff on the floor. And Draymond
But
Green,
also, but you know what though? But you also the NBA is also to blame here because like you're not wrong, but they also like canonize that type of shit. The NBA plays both sides of the fence here. No malice in the palace, but let's canonize Dennis Rodman and Larry Johnson and Charles Oakley and tough guys.
Damn true.
Like you can't do both.
Damn true. That's a really good point, man. I never
you
thought about it
can
like
do
that.
both.
Yeah.
You can do both. The NBA does both.
Well,
Like-
you can't do
Like Bill Laimbeer was
can
out
do
here.
both.
Bill Laimbeer's out here killing guys, man. Like
Yeah, it's true. It's true, no doubt.
And they do love to talk up like, oh, the players of this era, they couldn't cut it in the 80s because
exactly
guys back
all the
then
time.
just committed, small crimes on the court routinely. It's like, oh, cool, like great, like that's what made basketball great. They're like, yeah, the more like it was like hockey, the better it was. Even though I haven't watched a hockey game in like 30
that
years.
entire conversation. I despise it.
It's bad. Okay, so Draymond, I hope you rest up, get ready for that game 4 that your team's desperately going to need you in, because even if they pull off a miraculous victory in game 3, we'll still be down 2-1. Final thing I want to talk about. The Warriors have shot significantly better than the Kings. They have a 56.1 effective field goal percentage.
Yep.
The Kings have a 50.8 effective field goal percentage. But there's a 5.5 gap in offensive rating, and it's because the Golden State Warriors, playing like Kevin Porter Jr. is their point guard, they got a 15.4 turnover rate.
Yep.
Sacramento's at 11.1. They're getting killed on the offensive glass. Sacramento's got a 31.2% offensive rebounding percentage, and the Warriors foul the ever living shit out of their opponents, a 2.47 free throw to field goal attempt rate. So pretty much here's the thing. Golden State's winning the battle in the most important offensive category. Do your shots go in? And then they're just getting absolutely destroyed in the other 3 ones.
Yep.
Do you think that they can reverse the course and actually, tidy it up, do the fundamentals, and get back in this series?
I don't think that they'll be able to deal with the offensive rebounding discrepancy too much. Sabonis is like definitely the best rebounder on this in this whole series, right? Really, they're a better rebounding team front to back, like Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes. These guys all
Yep.
contribute on the glass. Yeah. But I think the Warriors can cut the turnovers down. I would have. I mean, this team's won what 4 championships.
I mean,
mostly
they
to
would
get
have
there.
to play Jordan Poole significantly less minutes.
Yeah, that's true. Poole is a bit of a weird variable in that it's like, is this kid any good? Like is he actually any good?
Well, I mean, this is when I was looking at the stats for this series, this blew my mind. Steph Curry averaging 29 points per game. You're like, fuck yeah, 48% from the field. He's got 10 turnovers and 8 assists. Like, holy shit, that's not a good ratio from what I understand about assist to turnover ratio.
Yep. It's a weird series, but like you can like sort of like plot it out with the eye test and shit, like because like the first thing that jumped at me was like, yo, these are a lot of turnovers. I don't understand why Warrior fans are crying about fouls when you're literally giving the Kings the basketball and the ability to run out and play fast. Like you're leading to your own demise. Clearly.
Yeah, I always find fans complaining about foul discrepancies really especially when it's like all of a sudden in the playoffs when they start complaining, because if I'm not mistaken, the Warriors fouled people. Yeah, they finished 11th in defensive basically free throw to field goal attempt rate, right? Like this was a high foul team.
Yeah.
All season long. Like that's just what they do. And then all season long, the Kings had the 10th lowest, right? Like you watch this, you expect this series, the Kings to have the advantage at the free throw line. Like that's just what you would expect. It always bugs me when fans get mad where it's like, do you even watch your team play? Like this is who the fuck they are.
They don't.
They don't watch them.
They literally don't.
Honestly, there are definitely a lot of people out there that are publicly commenting on basketball that really don't watch it, man. It's
apparently us, the basketball watching, public, we're wrong. And the Warriors just never set illegal screens ever. It's a myth. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
How many championships would they have if illegal screens were correctly called? I'd be willing. -1.
So hold up. So here's the question here. The question you just asked. So like this is like if one thing doesn't happen, the rest of the championships don't happen. So I'd say 0.
Damn.
Because if they don't win the first one because Kevin Love and Kyrie get injured and they lose the set, they don't get Kevin Durant, so they don't win anymore.
But was the first one so predicated on moving screens that like we could throw the whole thing out? Like that team was pretty amazing, man.
That was more of Kyrie and Kevin Love not playing than legal screen.
Oh, so you're saying the Cavs would have taken it anyway? Maybe.
Like that team, yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so this game 3 that's coming up.
Yeah,
it's obviously a must-win for Golden State. Right? You don't go down 3-0. You don't come back from down 3-0.
It's definitely a must-win.
Yeah, and that's obvious. Shaq last night said this game 3 was a must-win for the Kings and a must-win for Golden State. The only game that's a must-win for both teams is game 7.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's my theory. But yeah.
Well, if you're calling it a must-win then for the Kings, then you're taking all the meaning out of the phrase, right? Like
it doesn't. It doesn't matter when the Kings win this series as long as they win. It doesn't matter when they win.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just need, and here's the thing. I understand the idea that like you don't want the Warriors to get that feeling of success back. And this is the only game you're probably going to have in the series without Draymond, do you think, right? Because obviously Draymond could do something even stupider when he comes back in game 4. Because, the man has no limits to his heel turns. Like he will go full WWE Raw, whatever wrestling analogy you want. But what do you think in terms of if the Kings don't need to win this game? Is there a way that you don't think they can survive a certain type of loss in this game and not have the series suddenly kind of feel like it's back in play?
I'd say like avoid the Hawks Celtics thing when you like are down by 40. Like avoid if you just avoid that, I think they're fine.
Okay. James, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think a loss with Dre absent, it does suck, right? Like it would be a little blow to their confidence. Of course, they want to win this game, and you want to win every game, right?
Yeah.
But I just couldn't call it a must win. But I can't think of a specific, like, of course, yeah, you don't want to get blown out. But I do think any loss to a Draymond-less Warriors is gonna bruise their ego and hurt their confidence a little bit. In that sense, you want to really take the series by the stranglehold and capitalize on the fact that he's out. But I still wouldn't say in any way is it a must win, and the Kings can lose, and they're still in the driver's seat, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I feel. It's just like as long as like it's not like, oh shit, like were those first two games a complete aberration? It's like because the Warriors just come out and play that well and just dominate. I think it doesn't really matter. All right, Draymond's not playing for this game 3. Who are we predicting steps in to his starting spot? My money is on it's between Gary Payton II and Jonathan Kuminga. I would lean with Gary Payton II because I think Kerr doesn't trust Kuminga enough in this type of situation, which I think is fair. He's a very young player. So I'm going with Gary Payton II. Do you guys have any other dark horse candidates or candidates you think will be starting this game?
I have a scenario that just popped in my head here.
Okay.
So they're on the road. We're at the quote unquote Oracle or whatever. I know it ain't that, but I'm gonna call it that. So everyone knows about De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk are going to attack like for 4 quarters. This is one of those games where Kevin Huerter just goes fucking insane from 3, and then they snatch this game from the Warriors. Like Huerter goes insane from 3 because the Warriors are without Draymond, they're so overly focused on Monk and Fox. He goes fucking nuclear. It's like 7 threes or some shit.
I would like to watch Red Velvet cake it up.
Nevin, to answer, I like that though. I think that's very possible as well, Taylor. But to answer the question, I guess the other option is Wiggins at the 4 and 3 guard lineup with Clay at the 3, Poole and Curry. I would probably go Gary Payton the 3rd, but just in terms of exploring all the possibilities.
Okay, so you think like here's the thing. I've never been a big Jordan Poole fan.
Me neither.
But I do think that like if you're gonna play him, you should play him with Steph. Because I remember when at the beginning of the season we were talking about like players we thought were gonna have like breakouts and breakdowns. But one of my breakdown players was Jordan Poole, and my premise was like when he was playing with Steph, he was a different player, like a very good player. And when he wasn't playing with Steph, he was pretty mid. And I just felt that this season was like they're going to need him to kind of carry the Steph-less minutes. And I felt like the reality was that he wasn't.
He can't.
He can't.
Yeah, he can't.
And so maybe what you do is you say, hey, let's just play him with Steph and hope we score enough points. Because at a certain point, it's like he's not helping you playing without Steph coming off the bench. He's probably hurting you. But if he's playing next to Steph and he's good, like you lost your main Steph amplifier in Draymond. Yeah. Well, you're not getting that back, but why not play a guy who gets amplified by Steph maybe better than any other player on the team?
Yeah. I fuck with that. Yeah. Because to be honest with you, that's the only way I see him being effective in any way in the rest of these games.
Yeah.
Because if you just send him out there, minus Steph and let him Jordan Poole it up, I mean, he can get hot, but it's more likely he plays losing basketball and you get swept.
Absolutely, I agree.